What is going on, Sky Squad? We are back in the building, baby, and we are here to discuss Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2, episodes 1 through 3. Now, I had to debate how I was going to do these breakdowns, and I decided that I was going to do them a bit differently than how I typically review an episode. Number one, I did not make any notes. The first thing that I said I wanted to do was I wanted to see whether or not this was actually going to be worth the watch. And I wanted this review to be about telling you whether or not it is worth the watch, whether or not it's worth the investment of, getting a subscription with Peacock TV, and just what it was given. And sometimes I notice that when I am taking notes on episodes, I'm not actually watching the episode for enjoyment. And I actually kind of just wanted to watch these episodes for the pure enjoyment of it, and again to see whether or not this was something that I felt like I needed to invest my time in, and whether or not you needed to invest your time in it as well. So I might be a little bit all over the place, but I'm going to give you the highlights of the first 3 episodes. And again, because they released 3 episodes all at once, it would have been a nightmare for me to try to recap each one of them in the way that I typically do. But nevertheless, don't fear. We're still going to get into some things, okay? So, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and rate these first 3 episodes on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say, and I'm going to rate them together, and then I'm going to rate them separately. Altogether, I give them a 9.5 out of 10. The reason why I didn't give it a full 10 was because I felt like the third episode kind of didn't give what I felt like the first 2 episodes gave. Now, that's not to say it wasn't good. It's just to say that it didn't give as much, in my opinion, because the first 2 episodes are so wildly chaotic that you almost don't even know what the heck you're watching, okay? And so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to actually break this down by character first, and then we're going to actually talk about some hot moments that occurred during the episode. So stick around until the end of this video so you can determine whether or not for yourself that this is the show for you. And stick around because I want to know if there's anything that I missed that you just found hilariously funny. First things first, if you're watching this, watch it for the pure enjoyment and the nostalgia of having some of our favorite characters back on our screens. And for me, that means having Phaedra Parks back on our screens, Dorinda Medley, who by and large should never have been taken out of the Real Housewives of New York equation at all, okay? Eva Marcille is so good on this show. It is so interesting to see because I feel as though for Phaedra and for Eva, neither one of these women seem that inclined to want to go back to their original franchise. Like they both seem okay not being on Real Housewives. Whereas most of the other ladies, you can tell that they would prefer to be back on their original franchise in some way, shape, or form, perhaps with the exception of Taylor. However, I would say that, excuse me, because Taylor lives in Orange County now, I would be more interested in seeing Taylor, Tamra, and Vicki back on OC. But let's talk about them first, and then we'll get into the rest of the ladies. I'm going to start with Tamra because Tamra, to me, is more interesting on Orange County than she is here, at least in the first 3 episodes. Sure, there's a lingering beef that she has with Brandi from their social media wars, and that's what a lot of this is leading up to. There's a lot of tension between some of the ladies here, specifically with the ones that I'm going to talk about first. Tamra to me is more interesting on Orange County than she is here, mostly because she is under the I don't want to say under the influence of, but I feel like she's having to micromanage Vicki so much that we don't really get to see her personality truly shine. Tamra is good for getting things started and for, stirring up the juice. But because you have so many power players here, there's really nothing for her to stir up. And she is almost prohibited from getting involved into the drama because she is so kind of tethered to Vicki that you don't really get much of the Tamra that I know and I think we enjoy. Vicki is like Tamra's downfall on this show. And what I mean by that is that Vicki is sucking the energy out of most of the show. Okay. Vicki has come here fresh off of an alleged breakup, although the man claims he had broken up with her before, well before the show actually filmed. Also, with the reveal that she had to buy her own engagement ring because the man could not afford the ring that she was supposed to get. So it's very interesting to see. And Vicki is also recovering from the panorama, right? Which is going to lead to a bigger issue with her and Dorinda, which I will touch on in a bit. But let me just say that Vicki is anti-vax, so that is going to lead to some controversy between her and Dorinda. But beyond her being also sickly throughout the show, so sick that she has to go to the hospital within like the first 2 episodes, she's just not fun. Like, she is in a bad mood. She is constantly complaining about everything. And Dorinda has laid out the red carpet for these ladies. And I just feel like Vicki is an ungrateful brat the entire time. She is. She's got a chip on her shoulder. You know she wants to be back on Housewives. She feels like a reject. And I'm just being for real. And it's such a shame to see the OG of the OC fall from grace in such a major way. And so for that reason, it feels like Tamra is trying to constantly pick Vicki up and make her do, you know what I'm saying? Make her more fun. And that's just a lot of work for Tamra. Moving on to Taylor. Taylor comes in kind of fresh because we haven't seen her in ages. There is something about her eyebrows that feel very microbladed on. And I don't listen. These are things that I don't really care about. You know what I'm saying? Normally, microblade your whole face if you want to. You know, I am all for people getting procedures done. I'm about to have something done myself, but I'll tell you guys about it in a video, okay? It ain't nothing major though. But her eyebrows are so microbladed and they're so dark that it's almost a distraction every time you look at her. But it's interesting seeing Taylor here because the Taylor here is trying to be a much stronger Taylor than she was before. And her and Eva actually bond over their DV experiences, which provides for a really touching moment between the two of them. And she also manages to stand up to Brandi in the most hilarious moment. This moment right here, it comes out of nowhere, okay? Out of nowhere, there's this whole conversation about something that Brandi has said to one of the owners of either the restaurant or the chef or something like that, that is just so insane about this lady's eyebrows being the reason why she thought the lady was a lesbian, okay? And is narrated, really, the conversation gets sort of narrated by Phaedra because she asked the question. And for whatever reason, Taylor ends up just popping off, and then the whole cat meme comes up. It is actually like iconic television. And let's get into Brandi real quick, because Brandi, to me, is the wild card on this show, and she brings the chaos and the confusion. And some of the girls, namely Vicki, already have it out for her, and her and Taylor are just trying to make it through. But it is really interesting to see that Eva and Phaedra are the ones who actually seem to have Brandi's back. That is until Brandi touches on something with Eva, when she told Eva that she thought her man was going to be a mangina, and Eva won't feeling that. So we get a glimpse of a potential brewing beef, because up until that point, Eva had Brandi's back like hardcore. And I think maybe it's just something about, I think just being like a person of color, you know what I'm saying? And black in general, we understand sometimes what it feels like to, be on the outskirts of, certain groups. Um, especially in this housewives world. So I felt like with Phaedra and Eva, they felt like, yo, let's protect this girl because the rest of these ladies seem like they got it out for her, and we not feeling that. Okay, that is again until Brandi manages to piss Eva off. Now I want to get into Eva real quick because Eva is actually she provides a lot of heart for this show. Eva, she's chain smoking throughout the thing. Okay, let me just say that. Okay, and I don't think that there's cigarettes. I think it's the ganja because she is. Listen, Eva wants her ganja, and Eva got to have the ganja all the time. Okay, and it was a shock to me, and maybe because it's Peacock TV, they can actually show this. I'll be interested to see if when they play this on Bravo, they actually show or blur out what she's doing most of the time, because it's literally just about every scene that you see her, she is sitting somewhere with an ashtray and her ganja or whatever it is that she is puffing on. Okay. It almost becomes a distraction for me. And maybe it's because I don't really partake in that because I don't like the smell of it, but that's just me. But it just seems like maybe it's because she on vacation. I really don't know. But she is still working for the doing the Ricky Smiley morning show while she's there. She's getting up at the 6 o'clock in the morning doing her thing. So mama is not missing a beat or bag. Okay. So I want to get into Phaedra next because for me, Phaedra, this is really Phaedra shines the most here. Phaedra, Dorinda, Brandi, Eva shine the most in this show, at least in these first 3 episodes. And it is really this interesting budding friendship that Brandi has with Phaedra because Phaedra feels protective of her. That really is kind of a nice touch to see in this franchise. But Phaedra is hilarious. The great thing about Eva and Phaedra is that every show needs a good narrator. And Phaedra and Eva both provide the narration that we need in order to understand the chaos because they are able to kind of decipher the chaos in a way that only a housewife can. Okay. Phaedra in particularly is hilarious. Again, it reminds you of why you fell in love with Phaedra in the beginning if you are a Phaedra fan. And it reminds you that Phaedra is necessary in the world of housewives because she provides a certain je ne sais quoi and comedic timing that most housewives just don't possess. And it is uniquely natural to her. Okay. There's a moment where Dorinda is literally breaking open everybody's lobsters, okay, putting her fingers all up in it, okay, and Phaedra is like, for some reason Dorinda wants to feed the lobsters to Phaedra, and Phaedra just laps it all up. And Phaedra, comments in her confessional. She's like, "Yes, girl, put your fingers in my mouth, put your fingers in my butt if you want to. The way you're serving me this food." I laughed so much at everything that Phaedra was saying and doing and that's the other thing about this show. I laughed out loud. Like, it's one of those situations where even if you are not familiar with some of these women, you are going to laugh. This is why Housewives is what it is, because of this show right here and shows just like it. Because these women, particularly because Brandi is in the mix and you never know what she's gonna say, it's wild chaos at its best. Okay. Now I want to also talk about Dorinda because Dorinda is really the heart. I mean, I don't want to say she's the heart and soul because I just said the other ones were, but Dorinda is really it's Dorinda's ship. and the rest of the ladies are setting sail on this ship. And what I mean by that is it's at Dorinda's house. Dorinda is making it nice. She has a full itinerary for every single minute of the day, and she is the drill sergeant. Okay, she is the fun master, and you best not miss an event. Okay, she has everything planned down to the T. And I feel like Dorinda has that energy that is needed on Housewives shows because she understands the assignment. She understands, listen, I'm going to get a little wasted. I'm going to go off on some people. The argument that she has with Vicki over the panorama is, it again comes out of nowhere. And Dorinda keeps talking about a unicorn showing up. It was wild. It was wild, but it gave you what Dorinda needs to give. And to me, Dorinda is quintessential Housewives. And if she is not back on the franchise, it would be a travesty. Actually, if she nor Phaedra are back on some type of show, they could do this show every year. Like, I want this same group of ladies to come back every year. And we can take away a couple of people or whatever, but keep several of these ladies in the mix. And I think I would just love it. Particularly for me, if you keep Dorinda, if you keep Brandi, if you keep Phaedra, and perhaps that's about it. Because for real, I would put Vicki, Taylor, and Tamra on OC. Easy breezy. Now, the only person I haven't discussed yet is Jill. Jill Zarin is from New York City. She does not make it in the first episode because she was celebrating Yom Kippur because she is Jewish. So she tries to recreate this moment where she showed up in Scary Island on the Real Housewives of New York from season 3. And the ladies in season 3 were not happy that she arrived. Well, when she tries to recreate that moment while the ladies are getting their pedicures, she arrives to crickets. Half of them don't even know who she is, okay? And the ones who do barely manage to even greet her in any way, shape, or form. And thus far, outside of being a busybody, sort of talking about, who she knows, what she can do, and being a walking QVC for her own products, I feel like she's trying to give us low-key Bethany, but she doesn't have Bethany's authoritative stance enough to do so. So it just kind of comes across like a busy motor mouth, okay? As of yet, she is yet to provide the show with much of anything at all. So it'll be interesting to see how things progress. But for right now, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I like this show. I'm gonna continue to watch. We'll continue to do some light recaps, similar to this. I may do them live next week, or probably not next week because I have to travel next week. So we're going to get it how I can get it to you. Okay. But y'all know how I do it. When I travel, I still try to work. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts about this. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. I would give episodes 1 and 2 a 10, to both solid 10s for the chaos alone. And I would give episode 3 like a 9 or 8.5, which brings down the overall number for the for the first 3 episodes to a 9.5 instead of a full 10. So with that being said, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you would rate each episode and why, which characters you fell in love with the most, and which ones you liked the least in the comment section down below. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.